Welcome to Insight Builder channel, large language model automators, Python experts, and my dear friends. Mastering Huggingface model evaluation. In detail walkthrough of measurement, metric, and comparison processes when you are doing ML pipelines. Why we are discussing this particular evaluation process? For that, we need to first of all understand the steps that is required for training an NLP model. If you have come across my earlier videos on Hugging Face datasets, or in fact, if you have watched my earlier videos in this particular playlist where I discuss the various tasks, the models that is available in Hugging Face as open source models, you will have some idea why you need to evaluate a model. Also, if you are from the background of artificial intelligence and machine learning, you must be already come across the concept of checking the accuracy, checking the precision in case of classification, and checking the how best the model is fitting the real world data in case of regression models. So all these kinds of the way to test the model is called as evaluation. And in case of Hugging Face, there is an entire library that is designed for evaluation. And the library and the functions, the methods inside the library is designed in such a way that you can pull automation of those processes can be possible. So that is the main intention of the Evaluate library. Also, the most important point is, as you can see here, in case of the steps that you need to go through for NLP model training, you will start with the data, you will load the pre-trained model, instantiate the training model for training. But then when you're going to instantiate it for training, you need to have something to calculate the metrics, because the machine learning model has to learn something, and it has to learn with respect to the ground truth, correct? And for that process of learning, the machine learning model has to continuously calculate the metrics also. That is where the Evaluate library comes into picture. Once you create the trainer, you have to include the metric also, the metric instances also inside the trainer object. I'll be entering into the trainer object in the next video. So if you see, let me go back to the browser for a moment. If you see the discussion flow that I am taking right now, so I have already introduced Hugging Face datasets. I'll be linking this video along with this discussion also. Then now I am discussing the evaluation process. So I have actually skipped the training part. You might be wondering, why did I skip the fine tuning and the training part? Because once you know the data set and once you know the metric, actually training part is has a minimum amount of detail. In fact, you'll be using a pre-trained model that is already trained by someone, and you are going to add your own data set. And once you add your own data set, you need to know what kind of metrics you have to use. But the model itself can still be a black box. If you are thinking, okay, you need to build the entire model from ground up also, even then Hugging Face provides various methods in the transformer library that we'll be discussing in detail in the next video, where you can use the knowledge that is created by many other top researchers and scientists at a click of a mouse. You don't even need to do a click. All you need to do is program it, use the Python primitives to learn about those models. You will still need to learn about the deep learning and neural network architectures a bit before you can really dabble at that level of model architecture fine tuning. But for starters, the way that I am introducing will be more than sufficient. The most important point is for you guys to understand that there are three different areas. One is the data set that we use it for training the model, and there is a metrics, that is the evaluation process that we need to use for keeping the model up, to train the model. And then there is the training loop itself, the training loop that is taken care by the libraries like PyTorch, TensorFlow, or JAX. All these libraries are interfaced with the Hugging Face transformer library, and most of the things are abstracted from us. Even after abstraction, we still need to learn a lot of stuff. And that is the reason why I am following this kind of a different path. Because when I started learning, I was facing the challenge, because if I directly enter into trying to learn about training, I need to learn about metrics and I need to understand about datasets. If I go and learn about datasets, there also the concept of metrics comes into picture. So then I decided, okay, let us first learn datasets, then learn metrics, and then go to training. So in this way, I felt that I can get a good overview. And that's how I'm sharing the information with you guys. So I hope that you'll like this particular content. Do leave a like and also share it with others, because this is a new technology that is coming up with the data sets that is abundant in Hugging Face. There is almost 33,000 plus data sets, and the data set spans across multiple languages and multiple media, multiple domains, and even multiple applications of research and development. So Hugging Face is one of the Hugging Face Hub is one of the center point of artificial intelligence development. So do learn about Hugging Face and get an account inside Hugging Face and start working with that. I have a series of videos that I've made on Hugging Face and the various open source models around the large language models and AI models. With that said, let me go back to the presentation. Do subscribe to my channel for further updates on similar kind of videos. With that said, let me go to the start. Okay, what kind of challenges that is solved by the Evaluate library? So the library name in itself is called as Evaluate, and it starts by by the objective of evaluating a pipeline, the machine learning pipeline itself. So from the start of the data set, and making the model to learn, and then comparing the learned model with other models. So all these three steps are taken care by the Evaluate library. So metric is the module that helps the machine learning model to learn, and comparison is the module that helps to compare particular two different models. Because you will know, right, with respect to the data set and the way you have architected the model, the output of the model can be different, or the performance of the model can be different. And then finally we have measure. Measure helps to investigate the proficiency of the data set. The data set that you are using also needs to be appropriate for the particular task that you are working upon. Next challenge that Evaluate solves is it has separate modules inside the Evaluate library with its own description and features. So if you are new to ML domain or artificial intelligence domain, you must be already overwhelmed with the number of metrics, the number of ways to check the model, and the definition which comes along with each of these metrics and comparison parameters. What happens in case of Hugging Face is all these things are kind of offloaded to the library itself. Yes, you still need to know what is precision, what is F1 score, what is accuracy, etc. I'm not saying that you shouldn't know, but what I'm trying to say is that if you want to refer any of these descriptions or definitions, all you need to do is look for the features and description of a particular metric or a comparer. In that way, you can get the details from the Evaluate library itself. I'll be showing you the examples in a couple of minutes. Computing the metrics can be done either one by one, batch wise. So there are various ways of computing the metrics also. You don't need to do it manually, and the way the metrics are computed will be shown to you as a standalone process. But when it comes to training the machine language model, the evaluator or the metric instance will be sent along with the trainer object. So you will not be doing it manually. The trainer module that I'll be taking as a separate video will take care of all these processes. However, you need to still understand how the metrics is getting computed. So I'll be showing you a couple of examples, so you'll understand it in a matter of minutes. Finally, there are very different evaluations each of these tasks can have. For an example, text classification will need accuracy and F1 and precision score, while the segmentation model, the vision segmentation model, might require a completely different metric altogether. And sometimes you might have to combine multiple metrics if you are using multimodal models. So okay, what is multimodal. So mode in case of artificial intelligence is the text mode or the vision mode, I mean the picture mode or the audio mode or the video mode. So all these are various modalities in which the artificial intelligence model can be trained and used. And finally, evaluator module is also an additional module that is on top of metric, comparison and measure. There is another module called evaluator that automates the model evaluation. So we'll be taking a look at that also. These are the challenges that the evaluate model solves. Right. Let us now move further. So what are metrics and measurement? When it comes to any improvement that you need to do in your life, you need to have a yardstick or something to measure. Then only you can improve, right? In the same way, when it comes to machine learning models, the model needs to know where it currently stands, whether it can predict something, whether it can classify a particular text, whether it can generate a text in a particular format. So it has to know where it stands, and for that we need to use metrics for that. And there are generic metrics that can be applied for different situations, like accuracy and precision. You can apply these things in multiple tasks, but there are task specific metrics also. Like in case of sequence eval, you can only use it for NER, that is the natural entity recognition task. And there are dataset specific metrics like glue. So I'll be introducing a couple of dataset specific metrics also. I'll be showing you how to get the details of these metrics that is available. All these things are inside the evaluate library only. So you don't need to search for this, but you have to know how to access them. And that is the primary intention of this particular discussion. Once you are comfortable with that, then when you are going to use it in your product or in your project, it is going to be much simpler. How to find the metrics for the particular task? So there are a couple of ways. You can use the task page. So if you go to Huggingface Hub, then you can use the task page. Let me go to the browser for a moment and let me show you what I mean. So yeah, here is the quick tour of evaluate library. So you can take a look at this, and if you go to this one, so you'll see there is something called as tasks. So click on tasks and you'll see there are various tasks depending on the modality. Let me show you that particular discussion also, since we are in the Hugging Face Hub. Also, I really urge you guys that you take a sign up for this particular Hugging Face Hub account, so that you will get a better idea of what is going on. Just give me a moment. So the detail related to the task and the models were already discussed in this particular two of these videos. Take a look at this, you will get a deeper idea. Now let us go back to the presentation. Now the point I was trying to make is that you need to find the metrics that you can use for the particular tasks. You can use the leaderboards, you can use the tasks pages, you can use the data sets itself that provides you the necessary information. Apart from that, you can create custom metrics also. So at this moment, I'm just introducing what is possible and what kind of automation can be enabled. In case of evaluator module, you can use 9 tasks for automation. And finally, evaluator library also has methods to visualize the data generated, like creating radar maps and working on bar graphs, etc. The point I wanted to make in this particular slide is that you have to know how to find the metrics. Okay, and this is a topic that is really vast, and that is not something that I'm going to touch. You might be wondering, Kamal, why do this? Because see, what is happening is there is a huge amount of information out there on learning about machine learning processes, artificial intelligence processes. You will already must have come across various metrics and various processes you need to follow in order to create a model. What I am trying to show you in this case, in case of evaluate library, is that you can make your life easier by using these the metrics, measurement, comparators available inside the Hugging Face Hub, and avoid creating your own scripts for doing the measurements. I hope you understood the the reason behind introducing evaluate, because it is going, you don't need to actually type out the entire accuracy, implement the accuracy process as a separate Python function and then call the necessary model output and input. All of these things are taken care. Only thing is that you need to initiate the particular instance and automatically the calculation happens. That I'll be showing you how this works. Then you will understand why this particular way of introduction is happening. As I was telling, when it comes to metrics, there are almost 53 different metrics. Like these are the examples that I'm showing here. There are correlation metrics, different types of correlation metrics. There are sequence evaluation, and there is Meteor. We have comparison metrics like McNamara. These are comparisons between the models, not just two parameters. It's comparison between models, but depending on how they how big the model is, how fast they provide the inference, how accurate they are. And finally, we have measurement that measures the data set, like the label distribution, the word count, the word length, the perplexity, honesty, and toxicity, etc. Most of the time, the data sets are curated and also generated through various other means. And these data sets might have certain biases, might have some level of toxicity. Toxicity in the sense of what kind of words and what kind of concepts are discussed inside the corpus. Corpus is a set of text data. All these things can be measured. This is the key point I wanted to discuss with you guys. If you are going to think about measuring perplexity or measuring toxicity, you have to think about various algorithms that you need to use for doing the measurement. So if you have a text, if you have to do it, then you have to think about the algorithm, right? But all of these things have been abstracted from us, and it has been automated also by using the Huggingface Evaluate library. This is the key point I want you guys to take away from this discussion. Most of the times we might not foray into natural language processing or foray into artificial intelligence, mainly because of this barrier that you have to do everything, that you have to learn how to write the algorithms, you have to learn to implement all the concepts, machine learning concepts. Actually, that's not the case. Once you understand what is available in the open source libraries, in the Huggingface Hub, in GitHub, etc., you can actually use those information for learning, and then also you can use it for implementing in your projects. Yes, you have to learn about the licenses that is attached with the datasets, but when it comes to most of these functions or the algorithms, they are open sourced. Even you can check before you implement these things, but most of the the functions that are available in Hugging Face are open source models, open source functions, open source algorithms, and open source models. In fact, the word count, word length, the tokenizing algorithms are actually explained in detail in Hugging Face Hub. If you take a look at the documentation, you will be able to find it out. So the level of openness in Hugging Face Hub is pretty good, and we have to learn. Also, we have to learn to use what is available for us. That is the main intention. Again and again, I am reiterating here. Okay, now let us move forward. When it comes to all my videos, I always talk about practicing, and I hope that you like the way of this particular discussion. And if you do have some feedback, do leave a comment so that I will be able to improve myself. Do subscribe to my channel for further updates similar to Hugging Face Hub discussion that I am doing, and also I will be posting more videos related to the libraries surrounding the large language models, AI models. So stay tuned for those videos also. So do subscribe. With that said, now it's time for us to understand the Evaluate library by actually getting our hands dirty. So how are we going to do that? We are going to go to the Collab notebook. For that, you will need the Collab notebook itself, the Jupyter notebook, right? That will be shared with you in the GitHub repo. That particular link will be shared to you in the YouTube description below. So take a look at that. This particular notebook will be shared with you. So let us go to the browser for a moment, and this is the notebook that is already hosted inside the GitHub repo. So you can take a look at that. I'm closing it, and I'm also closing this so that I will get some bandwidth. Now, when you start the Collab notebook, you will have to pip install all these three libraries: transformers, datasets, and evaluate. The reason for installing data sets and transformers, you'll learn it at the end of this particular Jupyter notebook. So stay tuned for that. The library, it's a straightforward installation process. Just import the evaluate library, and after that we have to first and foremost use the load method. So whenever you are going to load, whenever you want any metric or comparison function or a measurement function, all you need to use is load. So you might be wondering, how will Huggingface Hub know whether I am trying to load a metric or a measurement if there is a name clash? So if that is the case, then you can actually add the module type. So in this case, I'm saying Meteor is a metric module type. So I'm giving an additional function, additional parameter here that I need it from the metric module. And you can load it, and you'll see that this particular loading process, the loading of accuracy or loading of Meteor, pulls the script, the build script for that particular metric or particular function. So once you have done this, the accuracy, this particular Python variable or this particular Python instance is has the necessary functions and methods for doing the necessary measurements. So you will be seeing how to work with that in a couple of minutes. So here I am showing a couple of examples of loading various functions like Meteor. I am loading the comparison function like exact match. I am loading the measurement function like label distribution, etc. So I am just showing you a couple of examples. You can try other options also. Let me go back to the PDF for a moment. I would request that you guys practice with various other metrics, comparators, and measurement measures here, and see how the Google Colab notebook responds. The most important point is, as you see here, when I imported the Meteor, you saw additional library, the NLTK data got installed. So like this, when you are going to pull other comparators or metrics, you will have additional activity going on. So you will have to learn that also. It doesn't stop there. So let me go forward. If you want to check the list of functions, so this is a little bit complicated when it comes to Huggingface Hub, because there are lots of interrelated things here. When we say the list of evaluation modules, they are talking about the list of evaluation metrics or the functions that is available inside a particular module. So when I say module, I mean measurement is a module, comparison is a module, and metric is a module. And when I say function, accuracy is a function, Meteor is a function, exact match is a function. So in this way, it is easier for us to understand. So Huggingface Hub has their own reason for naming these also as modules. But for me, I find that naming these as functions is much more logical. Because they have a function, right? They do a function. You give some input to it, it returns some output. So they are functions. And basically, when you use evaluate.list evaluation modules and give the module type, then you will get the list of functions that is available. That is, metric list has 53, as I was explaining. Let us go back. So I was telling there will be 53 different metrics, right? So you can check that out in the browser also. So I have checked that out in the Jupyter notebook also. So you see that I have done some coding for that. I have just used the list evaluation modules for comparison, metric, and also for the measurement. And you see the number of values, number of different functions by using the length function in Python. All these are basic Python functions. There's nothing new. You can see the various attributes. So this is where the point I was telling, right? Evaluate functions makes your life easier. So all you need to do is initiate the Python variable or the instance accuracy, and then you can use the description, you can use the various methods like features, citation, etc., and get the necessary information. Like for an example, if I say accuracy.description, this is an attribute, you will find the definition as well as the formula for that. And if you want to take a look at the features, you will see how the input and output are available. So predictions and references. So all these things are inbuilt. You don't need to do anything. And when you build your own metrics, ensure that you create all these things also. This is very important. Let me zoom in a bit. I hope that it's sufficient. Anyway, so the necessary notebook itself is available in the Google in the GitHub repo, so you can just download it and refer it as this video is going on. I seriously urge you guys to do the practice in parallel. So once you do the practice in parallel, you will get up to speed really fast. And then once you have got some confidence, then you can start using it for your particular application. So that is the main intention of these kinds of introduction videos. So now we saw how the instantiation of the metrics or the comparators are done. Next, we have to compute. So when it comes to computing the metric, there are three different ways. So you can use the compute method, or you can use add and then compute, or you can use add batch and compute. When it comes to compute, so you give all the values. So you see that I am giving all the values that is available for me, and I am computing it. Okay, there is no any batch. So if this particular list is even 1,000 or 10,000, I will push everything into this compute method, and then I will run the accuracy dot compute, and I will get the value outside like this. If I want to do it one by one, and I can do it using the this is just a example implementation. You can do it the other ways also. I just add the information. So I add the prediction, I add the references, and then I compute it. So understand, the references is the ground truth, and the prediction is what your model is giving. And in real time, when you're going to use these metrics, you will be passing this where is the object. So you'll be passing the accuracy or the meteor object directly into the trainer. So like this particular object is there, you will pass it directly to the trainer. I'll be showing it in a couple of minutes. And then you will not manually do the computation. So the computation will be done by the trainer object only. These things I'm showing it to you so that you guys can get confident with the process that is followed inside Huggingface Hub. And then we have batch process where you send it as batches and then compute it. All of these things are pretty same, but this next step where you can combine multiple metrics like accuracy, F1, precision, recall, this is where Huggingface Hub Evaluate library shines. If you have to do all these things manually, it's going to take a lot of code, believe me, and it is going to need you to create a lot of functions. You have to call those functions, you have to attach those functions to various harnesses, and then send it to your machine learning pipeline. I mean, it's going to be a mess, to be honest with you guys. And I have tried it, and most of the times a lot of us actually give up at that situation, because it's extremely challenging when you have to keep track of what is going on between multiple functions and multiple objects. And in machine learning, it's all about functions and objects and lot of instances. So Huggingface Hub team and the Evaluate team, the Transformers library team have done a great job in abstracting a lot of stuff from us. So do make use of this. As I was explaining, all you need to do is call the combine, and then you can use this metric as it is in the computation process. So you see the output, I'm getting the accuracy, F1, precision, recall. Everything is coming by just using the compute method. This is what I was talking about, the benefit of automation that is done. Even this is not automation. So what is going to come next is the peak of automation. So now what happens is there is in Transformers, I hope that you guys have seen the earlier videos. If not, do take a look at the the playlist that I shared it with you in my YouTube channel, where I discuss about the tasks and the respective models. So there I discuss about the Transformers pipeline, and in the datasets library that I already discussed in the earlier video, that also will be linked here. Take a look at these two before you come to if you are unable to follow this video. What happens in this particular cell is there is something called as evaluator module. Evaluator class. This particular evaluator class can take three things. It can take the model, it can take the data, it can take the metric, and do all the evaluation for you automatically. That is, you can you can run the system hands-free. This is the level of automation that Huggingface Hub has created. You'll see that I am importing this particular model, and then I am sending the IMDb dataset. So if you are new to loading dataset, take a look at the attached video that will help you out on these things. I am only going to load the test data set, and then all I need to do is call the evaluator class on text classification task. Currently, evaluator supports 9 tasks only. So especially NLP tasks and a couple of image and audio recognition tasks. You can take a look at the documentation for that. Once you do that, then you can get the results like this. So you see what has happened is not just that, it actually gives you the total time that has taken. It has showed you the samples per second, the latency, and a lot of information has been provided by using this task evaluator. Let us go back to the presentation. So right now we have seen the entire process. So we have seen how Evaluate solves various challenges that we face when it comes to measuring the machine learning models and using the measurement for training the machine learning models. Now what we'll be doing is, in the next video, I'll be introducing the trainer module. Only the trainer module, and it will be pretty simple because the dataset module is already discussed, the evaluate module is already, as you know, has been discussed in this particular video, and the trainer module is going to be pretty simple because in trainer not a lot of things can be tweaked, because as a beginner, if you're a beginner, you might be tweaking the learning rate, you might tweak the epoch, basic things, but the overall architecture of a particular model, like the number of neurons or the type of neurons or the type of activation functions, many of you may not even be aware of what is these things, like what is activation function, what is neurons. To be honest with you guys, yes, you have to learn these things, but if you are going to practice NLP, you have to learn the significance of it. You don't need to learn how to implement the neurons. You don't need to learn how to implement the metrics, right? You need to know what these things are doing, okay, and what kind of problems. Always, as I always say, what kind of challenges it is solving. Once you know that, implementation comes next. And there are lots of smart people, smart programmers, and open source contributors who want to help us. That is why they have created these libraries, right? And why would they want you guys to suffer again by making you to implement the neurons again? There are excellent videos by Mr. Andrej Karpathy, who explains how to implement the neural network from the scratch. Each and every line of the code is explained by him also. That is also, there are people like that also. I'm not denying that you shouldn't learn those stuff. But what I'm saying is to come up to speed, understand the basics, understand how to come up with a product or an idea, try to implement it at the as soon as possible, and then move forward. And as you go forward, you will get some more additional time. You can learn these concepts and then improve yourself. In that way, what will happen is you will have a good momentum of motivation, and also along with the motivation, you will have good deal of progress too. With all this said, I hope that you understood the Evaluate library, how it is useful, what are the metrics available, what are the comparators, and what are the measures available. So I think you got an overview of all this stuff. And do practice, do leave a like for this particular video and share it with others. Subscribe to my channel for further updates. As I told, I'll be working on trainer module next from Transformers library. Do subscribe for my channel. And later I'll be discussing further upon various different libraries like Haystack, and also more information on VV8 vector store. I am planning for such videos also. With that said, I would like to come to the conclusion of this particular video with 4 words, that is practice, 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 practice. See you guys, have a great time.